Friends and watchers of Illusion, welcome to another Delboy film retrospective and unboxing. And I like to do this little series because although I like to give and partake a little bit of information about these films, you know, and be as accurate as possible, and most of the information will come from the back of the box, me watching the film and the internet. I do like to also give a lot of it from my memory of watching a film, and I've chosen one today that's quite close to my heart in regards to recent things that have happened in my life, because I've had some health issues and I've had to be in hospital and have operations, and this film sort of like crosses that bridge of hospital type drama, but with a total encapsulation of science fiction. And the film we're going to be talking about today is Fantastic Voyage. It's a film from 1966, and it was directed by Richard Fleisher. The screenplay was by Harry Kleiner, and the story by Jerome Bixby, with music by Leonard Rosenman. And the thing that I remember about it is that I saw it on TV first, which is a bit strange. But I did actually see it in the cinema, very close to watching it on TV, because I watched it as a double bill at film club, a children's club that my local cinema did. These were held on Saturday, and children went into the cinema for a very low price. I think it was like 50p. And we were sort of like left in the cinema while our mothers did other things. And we'd watch a double bill of films, and we'd watch some cartoons. There would be some old serials from the 40s and 50s, like Flash Gordon and Buck Rogers and those sort of things. And the double bill would usually be something that was either radically different, two films together, or sometimes two films that have some sort of pairing. And I remember this particular film I saw at Cinema Club was done at the same time as 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, which was also done by Richard Fleisher. And when I look back at it, I can sort of like see the similarities on why they were doing it. Just to give you some background a little bit on Richard Fleisher, I mean, he's been very, very influential in my life. Not only did he do 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and Fantastic Voyage, but he did Dr. Dolittle, Tora, and I believe he did The Vikings, which is a very important film in my life. I love that film, The Vikings. I mean, it's got a fantastic score. The acting in that, Kirk Douglas, Tony Curtis, it's just a fantastic film. And the score is one that I instantly bought on record, and later on I bought an expanded score on CD. But Fantastic Voyage, what's it all about? Well, to be quite honest, it's hokum now. You can see the plot holes and problems with it. And the one thing it walks a line along is what's going on at the time that the film was made, which is 1966, and the setting of the film. I don't think there's a particular date that's mentioned in the film, but I believe it's 1995. But if you look at the film, it definitely looks a 60s film. Do you see what I mean? And in the 60s, it was all about the Cold War. And although, again, not mentioned, I think that it's about the United States and the Soviet Union, the Cold War. And the reason I say that is, if you think about what the story is, which I might as well talk about now, we're talking about a miniaturisation project. On the American side, they've got their own project, and they've managed to basically shrink people and craft down to miniature size. The US, the Soviet Union, should I say, have also got the same project, can do the same thing. But the Americans have hit a brick wall in the fact that they can only keep the miniaturization down for 60 minutes. The Soviet Union is indefinitely. And there is a scientist that wants to defect from the Soviet Union, and he manages to get on a plane and come over and defect to America. But on the way to the actual plant where the miniaturization unit are, he is attacked, and he hits his head against the inside of the car and gets a blood clot and enters himself into a coma. So starts the film. So he's presented into the plant, and they try to save his life. The only way to save his life is the miniaturization project. And so we've got, therefore, the people that are going to try and help him, which is Grant, who's a Navy pilot captain, Bill Owens, who's a medical chief and circulatory specialist, Dr. Michaels, a surgeon, Dr. Peter Duval and his assistant, Cora Peterson. And they're placed aboard the craft, the Proteus, and injected into the body, and need to head through the body to get to the brain to destroy the blood clot and get out of the body in 60 minutes. That's pretty much the plot. And the one thing that every time people think about the story of Fantastic Voyage, they really think of Raquel Welch. And yet, I think the reason for that is that science fiction at the time really was something that was for boys and men. And Raquel Welch is just an incredibly sexy woman. I remember looking at her and going, wow, she's beautiful. And this was before 1 million years BC, which has got that famous loincloth poster, you know, and another film that when you think of that film, you think of just Raquel Welch, which is wrong, really, because the other actors in this film, Stephen Boyd, Edward O'Brien, Donald Pleasence. I mean, what can we say about Donald Pleasence? He gets everywhere, and he's just absolutely fantastic. And the whole science fiction thing about miniaturization is just something that boyhood things we just love. I mean, I remember The Incredible Shrinking Man. Later on, when thinking about Fantastic Voyage, they've sort of done a homage to it with Inner Space, which had Martin Short in. Another great film, but a film that was played more for comedy than this film. So the thing that stands out, other than Raquel Welch to a lad, is the special effects. And boy, back in the day, these special effects were just absolutely fantastic. Being injected inside the body, seeing all the blood vessels and antibodies, clots. There is a big sequence in the film where they have to go through the heart, and then eventually into the brain, and then getting out of the body before 60 minutes is over. And of course, you can't have a film like this without having an antagonist, a person that is there just to make everything fail. And remember, this is all about a Russian defect, a defector. So, you know, it's not hard to work out who that person is in the crew, but it's that added element that sort of like hastens the danger in the film. So, again, we've got a Blu-ray of this film, and it's really quite good. CinemaScope is used, and anybody that saw CinemaScope back in the day, you know, with The Robe, The Ten Commandments, Ben-Hur, knows the richness in colour. which is why I think this one is a definite film that I'd like to see in 4K. There's nothing that you can do to sharpen the image, really. You sharpen the image and the special effects just look terrible, you know, get worse and worse. But it's the colours. And the rich tapestry of colours that are in this film would certainly benefit HDR, which is what 4K would give it. So I would love this in a steelbook or in a 4K of some sort. I'd buy it instantly. Absolutely fantastic. The other thing that I can sort of like remember about this was the score. It was done by Leonard Rosenman. Leonard Rosenman, to me, is a good composer, but not a favourite. You know, he's done some great stuff. But looking at this film, I remember there was very little music other than to the point where they injected into the body. And then you had the music sounding very much like Forbidden Planet, another favourite science fiction film of mine that was done in the 50s. I think that was a good idea. I don't think a normal orchestral score would work for a science fiction film like this. Forbidden Planet is remembered because of the weird score that was in it and the instruments that was used. Very abstract. And when you're inside the body of this Russian defector, that's what you're expecting. You're not expecting a melodic score. So I think that the score is absolutely wonderful, and it's one that I do have on record, vinyl. So I haven't listened to it for a long time. I'm not sure if it's on CD or not. It's something that I'll have to look into, because I do remember it fondly, and I think it suited the film very well. Other things to talk about, the screenwriter, Harry Kleiner, I believe and the story by Jerome Bixby. I believe that they have Twilight Zone links, and Twilight Zone is one of my favourite TV shows. So there's another link to something that is very fantastical to me. And then, of course, the TV series Land of the Giants. It's all about that shrinking thing that was great. Later on, I found out that there was a cartoon that lasted for 2 seasons on this. I haven't got many of those cartoons. I know I've got some. It's something that, again, I need to go back on. So why don't we just unbox this Blu-ray, and I'll tell you a little bit about it. It's one that I've seen in as a digital file, and the picture quality is really good. The one thing I touched upon before earlier is that the higher you put the screen resolution, the more you can see the problems that special effects have from back in the day. There's a lot of green screen in this film, and green screen and chroma key was not something that had not been done in Hollywood before, but it was quite new in colour. And when you actually point at something that's just out of line with the actual set itself, you see artifacing, little black lines around things like fingers and hands. So a 4K is not going to help with this. But they're minor. It's not something that's going to cause too much of a problem, but you do see them in this film. So this is the case. You see, you got Fantastic Voyage. I've opened the cellophane from it now. Quite a nice cover. That's the back. Hopefully you can freeze frame this. There's not much on here. I believe there is a tribute to the visual effects. There is an audio commentary, and there is some trailers and TV spots on this. And when we open it up, there's very little. It's just an economy case, really, with a blue disc for a Blu-ray, which is quite common. It's done by 20th Century Fox, and most of 20th Century Fox are like that. Not much more for me to add on this, other than it's a definite thumbs up from me. Oh yeah, this is a great film, one that I remember really, really well. And I think what I'm going to do, like one of my other capsules, I'm going to go to my media playback, and I'm going to play the trailer to it. So I'm going to shut up and let you watch the trailer, and maybe it'll entice you to watch the film. So I'm going to shut up for a moment and let you watch this.
You are listening to the sound of a completely new screen experience. A startling new kind of excitement. As 20th Century Fox plunges you into the most incredible adventure that man could ever achieve. To make a motion picture that crosses a new frontier may seem impossible today. Outer space, the depths of the sea, the bowels of the earth, the past, the future, all have been subjects for the camera. But now, a film called Fantastic Voyage has broken through in an unexpected direction to create an adventure of astonishing suspense and beauty.
The miracles of the universe.
Its vital news story sweeps down from the sky. Then it drops the bottom out of the world you know and understand. As a beleaguered nation desperate for survival launches a journey you can never erase from your memory.
We need you for security purposes, Mr. Grant. They know they failed to kill Benish. Security thinks they'll try again. First chance they get.
A woman has no place on a mission of this kind.
I insist on taking my technician.
You'll take along who I assign.
Don't tell me who I'm going to work with.
4 men and a beautiful girl, off on a fantastic voyage, actually entering inside the human body, exploring an unknown universe, unknown dangers.
They're tightening. I can't breathe.
24 seconds left.
After that, you're in danger of attack.
Come on.
It's sheer suicide for all of us.
You are there with them, sharing a breakthrough in motion pictures.
He's gone.
If you thought it was too late to discover something entirely new on the screen, Fantastic Voyage will be a stunning experience. For you are going where no man or camera has ventured before. And when you come out, you may never look at yourself in the same way again.
Give me your widest beam. Full power.
Yeah, and that was the trailer. They don't make trailers like that anymore, do they? So what do I want to end this little capsule review on? It's a film that is very, very enjoyable. You need to turn your brain off. There's too many plot hole problems with this. They're injected into the body and they come out through the eye. But they only bring out the people. And basically the ship is left inside. If this has a 60-minute deminiaturizing part, then the Proteus, the craft, is going to expand and basically kill the patient. You know, I mean, it's going to be a great big massive submarine splitting the body apart. All of that sort of stuff. Total hokum. You know, it's not going to work. But this is where science fiction leaps beyond all of that. You know, you actually shut that off and you just go, wow, that was really exciting. It's that boyhood excitement of the fantastical. And that's what I like about Fantastic Voyage. It didn't do terrifically well. I believe it had a budget of 6 million. It made 12, but when you take into consideration distribution and marketing, it would have broke even. But it's the spin-offs, the cartoon, all of that sort of stuff that basically meant that it was not a flop. Definitely was not a flop, and it's fondly remembered. I really love it. I was so glad to get it back in my collection in a higher definition than DVD. It certainly, I think, is deserved of a 4K release. And that's the end, really, of this little capsule review. It's given you a little insight, some background information, but more my memories. I loved going to the cinema club and seeing this, and I remember watching it on TV all through my childhood and into my teens, and yet we don't see it too much on TV anymore. It's that dead medium that TV really doesn't show too much anymore, which is a sad thing. I used to love TV movies. I used to love watching them late at night, during the day, bank holidays, all of that sort of stuff. This is definitely one of those films that you put on a Sunday afternoon, and basically when it's raining, and you watch the film and you come away going, wow, I really enjoyed my time in that. So a thumbs up, and I hope it entices you to go and watch this, or even, if possible, purchase it. It's actually quite cheap to buy. With that, I'm going to say salute. Thanks very much for watching this little review. Bye-bye.